This is Scott from Comic Book Hangover with another weekly haul video. Trying a little, some little different things this week. So instead of having my phone being held one way, I'm trying it more of the, I guess, widescreen way. It fills the YouTube video screen a little bit better. And I don't know, I just kind of like it a little bit more. So there's really not a whole lot to talk about for the books that I grabbed this week. It's just kind of more of the same, just continuing a series of from the books that I have been getting. So let's just jump into it. So the first one I grabbed this week is the Alpha Flight #1 Facsimile Edition. The Facsimile editions are page-to-page reprints of older Marvel books. So you get not just the regular stuff like you would in the True Believers, but you also get all the advertisements. Even to the on the back of this one, the back page advert was for the video game Frogger. So you get all that stuff: the bullpens, the advertisements, the place where you used to be able to send money away to get comic books. So the only thing that I really wish they do differently with these is the price. I mean, I don't understand why it's got to be $5 for a book that is a reprint. They can do the True Believers for $1. These ones here, I mean, maybe like a regular cover price, $3.99. But it is what it is. It's nice to actually have this book. Next up, we got Doctor Strange #14, which is legacy numbering 404. This is the story that continues the Sorcerer Supreme is herald to Galactus. Galactus was ripped out of our universe and sent to a universe that was mostly made of magic and not of science. And Galactus, being a creature more of a science-based, him devouring things in a magical based realm spells bad things for everybody involved. This one here, you find out who is actually behind the conspiracy. Of course, with it being Doctor Strange, the Dread Dormammu is part of it, but he also has a rather interesting partner in crime. And this story, despite this is going to be a little bit of bias on my part, despite it being written by Mark Waid, who is arguably one of my least favorite people in all of comics right now, the story is really well done. The art is a lot of fun, but I am only going to be doing this Doctor Strange series until this story ends. The next issue's cover is going to be absolutely epic. Elvira, Mistress of the Dark, the Elvira Spring Special. And only Elvira could have a spring special where the cover is nothing but jack-o'-lanterns and, of course, her. It's no secret that I absolutely adore Elvira. She's one of my favorite movie icon characters. In this one here, she is once again trying to break into movies, and in doing so, she kind of hooks up with I guess you could say a parody of George Romero, who is known for making zombie movies, very realistic zombie movies, and over the course of the story, you find out exactly how realistic they are. And it's another story where you've got Elvira in an outrageous situation, and she just handles it in her own unique signature way. Another great book starring the Mistress of the Dark. Invader Zim #43. I haven't had a chance to read this one yet. I think I'm still an issue or two behind, but it's still a great book. I mean, if you're a fan of the animated series, and of course Netflix announced that they've got the upcoming animated feature, Zim is going to be a big deal once again, as he always should be. Anybody who's a fan of the series should definitely check this one out. Marvel Comics Presents #5. I actually just realized that this book is a $5 book. It's kind of worth it. You're getting some pretty decent stories. This one has, of course, as you see on the cover, Wolverine, Venom, and Nightcrawler. Unlike the cover, they don't interact with each other, but the stories are actually really interesting. They kind of take place in different periods of time, as the series has been kind of known for. It's the next issue that I'm really looking forward to, but this one here, the Venom story was kind of a throwaway. The Wolverine and the Nightcrawler stories, however, were actually really interesting. The Nightcrawlers, I don't know, it's kind of hard to explain. I'm hoping that it's kind of a continuing thing. Maybe we'll get one more part. I'm not sure, but it was rather interesting. It's like an Exiles story almost. Introducing or kind of reintroducing some characters I'm not all too familiar with, but I know some other people are. So hopefully they'll check this out and enjoy it as well. Middle West #7 from Image, another amazing cover. This one here, you've got actually the monster on the cover there is the boy from the series, Abel. And this one here, he really does find out almost the extent. Actually, I hope this is the full extent of his powers. If not, I mean this world is in for a heck of a ride. But This one here you find out more of the extent of his powers, and they are just beyond imagining. I mean, he destroys a lot of things. And then he, of course, freaks out, doesn't want to be around anybody, which hopefully will lead into a really good confrontation with his father, who is even more of a monster than he is. So the series is starting to get really, really good. I got to admit that there was an issue or two there where I was kind of faltering on whether or not I wanted to stick with it, but this has really kicked it up a notch. This boy's journey into discovering, exactly what he is, what his dad is, where he came from. Hopefully, we find out more about what happened to his mom. And this one here, we kind of get an idea, but it's hard to figure out if it's something that actually happened or if it was how he remembered things happening. Regardless, though, Middle West, number 7, a really fun read, and I'm looking forward to the next issue. Then we've got a couple of True Believers. Now, the Marvel this month's I guess theme is Marvel's Greatest Creators, so they did replace the True Believers banner across the top with the World's Greatest Creators banner. This week I grabbed Power Pack number 1, a book that I just absolutely just always ignored. Every time I came across this entire series, I just completely and totally ignored it. But I grabbed this one and I sat down and read it, and it's a lot of fun. I may not continue, may not look for the Power Pack Classics volume that is out now that collects this series, but it was fun. It's a great little series. If you've got kids that you want to try to introduce into comic books, this is a good way of doing it. It's only $1. It is a bit of an older book, but it is set firmly in the Marvel Universe, so it's definitely one to look into. And lastly, for this week's new releases, the other True Believers that I picked up, What If starring Spider-Girl. This was Mayday Parker's first appearance from back in the day. I do have the original, but I figured, I do enjoy the cover, so I figured I'd grab this one as well. So, really not much more to say about it. It's a book that started off as a one-off story and ended up launching an entire reality in the Marvel Universe, the MC2 reality, and just is the character that just would not die. I mean, she has a great and loyal and very vocal fan base, and I do appreciate that. She's actually a pretty cool character. So if you've never read the first appearance of Spider-Girl, Mayday Parker, I definitely recommend it. I know she's made appearances in some of the Spider-Verse events, so if you want to know how she got started, this is the way to go. And finally, to wrap it up this week, the Godzilla books that I just want to share the covers for. So we're just going to go through these real quick. So you're going to see my little hand in here in a minute. There we go. So we got Godzilla Rulers of Earth, number 24, featuring one of my favorite Godzilla villains, Gigan, who unfortunately in his first appearance he was quite a coward, but he does later becomes pretty cool. But yeah, Rulers of Earth, number 24, awesome cover. I really enjoyed it. Going back to some classic stuff, Dark Horse Comics, Godzilla King of the Monsters, number 0. He's back and he's fighting mad, featuring a very epic cover, something that I always wanted to have on a poster, but it is what it is. Then we've got Kingdom of Monsters, number 10. This was just a regular cover, but it's a really great, like an almost iconic drawing of Godzilla. And finally, Godzilla in Hell. I know I featured another one of these, at least one or two of these before. This is issue 5. Got Godzilla trying to get out of hell, and just the idea of him just being just deteriorated by whatever forces are involved here is just a great cover. And this is, for some reason, this out of all the Godzilla books that are out there, this is the one that's getting the most attention. The secondary market is really kind of going crazy with this. Speculators are making this, the first issue in this series like a $20, $30 book, which is kind of insane considering that, there's a great series, amazing art, but there's other books out there that are just as good that are not getting the attention. It's kind of weird. But there's that. And finally, before we leave, I'm sure you noticed that I have a couple pieces of art in the background of my comics this week. Something I don't know if I'm going to continue doing it this way or not, but I figured since I'd use these as backdrops, so to speak, I should talk about them a little bit. You've got Crescent City Monsters. This is a print that I actually won from the writer-creator of the series on his Instagram, Newton. I'm not even going to try to pronounce your last name, dude. I'm so sorry. But on his Instagram and on social media, every week he poses a question. You answer the question. It's very simple, and you get entered to win a print, and there's a number of prints that he gives away. This is the one that I picked. It was a very, very, very hard decision to make. All the art and all the prints were just amazing, just very well done. So it was a very tough decision to make. I finally was able to whittle it down to this one. Took me a day or two to actually try to figure it out after looking at all the pieces, but it's a great piece, and the book itself is just, it's really good. It's black and white, just like the cover. The art is just as good as what you're seeing on the cover. It's Dream Fury Comics is putting it out. They are available. They do have a web presence, Dream Fury Comics. They're also on Instagram. I'm sure they're on Twitter. I'm no longer on Twitter myself, but I'm sure they're on Twitter, Facebook. Definitely worth checking them out. If you've seen copies of this at your local comic shop, pick it up. It's a lot of fun. Magic, monsters, some mythology, just some great characters. And we've also decided to use this. It's a piece called Flower Picking. It's from a friend of mine, Audra Olivia Lockwood. She does all kinds of these wonderful little paintings. She'll take an established painting, and she'll just add what I would like to refer to as improvements to it. I think I actually have two here that she has. This one and, yeah, this little guy here, Grumpy Hump. But all of her stuff is really good. If you're interested in checking out some more of her stuff, look up Audra Olivia's Attic. She also makes many appearances at comic book conventions all over the place, mostly on the east end of the United States. But if you ever go through the artist lists on a local comic book convention website and you see Audra Olivia or Audra Olivia's Attic, definitely check her booth out. She's got some really great stuff. It's all the stuff she puts together herself, and just some great stuff. So, but anyway, those are the books that I picked up today. Those are the Godzilla books that I'm going to put up on my wall, which now looks like this. So, and of course, there's the prints. Next week, these prints will be a little bit different. I'm going to change them up. My little Chaos Comics one there with signatures by everybody. It's seen better days, but I still have it. Al Feldstein signed that one for me a couple years ago. So, and this one here, actually, if you look right there close enough, there's a remark and a signature by Mr. Eastman. But I'm going to change those up for next week. So next week when I'm showing my wall, you're going to see a little bit more, some more different prints on there. But regardless, as I always like to say, check out different comic books. Go to your local comic book shop, grab your usual stuff, and maybe if you have a little bit of extra money, check out something different. The True Believer stuff, always a good way to go. Might get you into a series like Power Pack, for example. If you grab that and you end up liking it, you can go back back issue diving, and grab the other issues, or grab the classics or any of the trade paperbacks they put together for it. So it's always a good idea to try something different, try something new. Always talk to people who are in your comic book shop. Strike up a conversation. You never know what kind of hidden treasures you'll find. Maybe find a new book that's going to be your all-time favorite. So that's it for me this week. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for watching. If you feel up to it, go ahead and put a like on this video. Subscribe if you like. Toss some comments down in the comment section. And we will see you next week.